excuse that beep. I decided to make a video talking about myself a little bit, which isn't something I thought I'd do. But basically, I got a comment on one of my videos from ThePeacableMan, who is probably quite a well-known whisperer on the internet, on YouTube, and he said he would like to get to know a little bit more about me, about the person behind the face. This is the face. So I have looked up some questions to ask myself, and I'm going to be answering them in this video. I have no idea how long it'll take, so just bear with me. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Just adjust that bit. Okay. Number 1. Name the most terrifying moment of your life so far. Good start. There we go. The most terrifying moment of my life so far would... it's actually quite emotional and horrific. But that would be on Sunday, the 28th of March last year. I got a phone call from my mum to say that my dad was in hospice when he was ill, to say that all the family have been told to come and see him because it's not looking open for him, and he died 2 days later. So yeah, that was last year. So that was the most terrifying moment when I realised that I was going to lose my dad. Sorry to start the video on such a downer, but I'm just being honest. Okay, I'll move swiftly on. Question 2. If you wanted to look very sexy, how would you dress? I quite like, I don't know if I've mentioned this before in other videos, but I am bisexual, so I find women as attractive as I find men attractive, and I like it when women dress up with sort of leaving a little bit to the imagination. So if they dress up like just covering up their breasts or their bottom half or something like that. So yeah, if I wanted to look sexy, I'd probably try and copy that, just by wearing something loose, but not showing everything. Yeah, so that's probably my version of looking sexy. The obvious one, I suppose, would be sexy lingerie, but I don't know. What most famous person do other people tell you that you most resemble? Well, nobody ever really says that I resemble a famous person. My dad used to say I look like, or I remind him of somebody who I can't remember the name of, which is so convenient. What was her name? She had blonde hair. She's British. Blonde hair, spoke like with a plum in her mouth. I can't remember her name. I'll remember it as soon as I've stopped the video, which is, you know, ideal really. I don't know, nobody really, nobody. I don't look anyone famous. Number 4, what's the strangest thing you've ever eaten? I'm not very adventurous with food. I don't like tomatoes, I don't like mushrooms, I don't like anything spicy. I'm quite plain and boring with food, so I haven't really... actually, no, sorry, it's just come into my head. I went to a barbecue a few years ago, and I think it was somebody had managed to get, I don't know how, I really don't know how, and I don't want to know how, but somebody had managed to get hold of the brain of something, or the heart of something, like sheep or lamb's brain or heart, and they cooked it at the barbecue, and I tried a little bit. I think it might have been brain, so it was either a sheep or a lamb's brain, I think, but it was a few years ago, so I don't really remember. Didn't really taste of much, it was quite plain. Number 5, if you could bring one character to life from your favourite book, who would it be? Ooh. Well, my favourite book is probably Flowers in the Attic, which I mentioned in my other video, in my collection of books video. Bring a character to life. From that, probably the father, because he dies quite early on in the book. I seem to have this connection with fathers dying, it's weird. probably the father, because he just seemed like the perfect gentleman. He was just a really nice, the way that the author spoke about him, he was just a beautiful man, so I'd probably like to meet him. Number 6, do you believe honesty is the best policy? Probably, yeah. I'm trying to think of situations where honesty has been the best policy. I'd say so. Because I don't like lying. I don't like people who lie, and I don't like people who make up stuff. So yeah, I would say honesty is the best policy. I don't always go along with that, but it's hard. It's hard to preach it it's hard to practice what you preach. It's hard to practice honesty being the best policy because you know you don't want to lie to people, but ultimately I do think that being honest with somebody is better than lying. If it was happening to me and if somebody was talking to me about something, I would rather than be honest than make up a lie to try and keep me happy, because lies are terrible things. 7. What vegetable do you most resemble? Does anybody resemble a vegetable? I don't know, look at my face. I was thinking a turnip or a parsnip. I don't know, probably something like that. I don't really resemble a vegetable. I hope I don't resemble like a tomato or something. That's a fruit anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, number 8. What dead person would you least want to be haunted by? Well, what dead person would I least want to be haunted by? Oh my god, there's so many dead people, I have no idea. Somebody really horrible, somebody really evil, like some mass murderer or some well-known evil spirit from like hundreds of years ago or something. I can't think of a name, but somebody like that I think would be horrific because they know how to mess with your mind. Number 9. Who would you most like to be stuck in an elevator with, and who would you least like? Who would I most like? This is going to sound probably really soppy, but probably my partner, just because I know that I'd be able to tolerate it. I love spending hours with him, and I know that I'd be able to just sit there and we could just have a nice chat. He wouldn't panic, he doesn't panic about anything, he's really calm. So yeah, I know it's really soppy, and if he watches this he's going to blush. But probably him the most, like. And who would I least like? Somebody I don't like, and I'm not going to name names because I don't like quite a lot of people. But I don't know who least because I don't want to name anybody. Number 10. What do you think Victoria's Secret is? Do they mean that in the literal sense? I know that Victoria's Secret is an underwear, lingerie line of fashion. But if they mean literally a woman called Victoria who has a secret, I have no idea. But I know that Victoria's Secret is, like I say, sexy women's lingerie. I think it is. Unless I've just made a complete ass of myself, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's that. But if she has a secret, I don't know, maybe it's that she's a man, I don't know. It's probably something like that. Number 11. Which cartoon character do you resemble the most? Again, I don't have a common face, I don't resemble anybody, I don't know that question. Number 12. Would you rather go to a week without bathing, but be able to change your clothes, or a week without a change of clothes, but be able to bathe? That's a good question, actually, because I'm quite a big one on regular showers, and every day I wear a different top because I sweat a bit, which is a bit gross, I'm sorry, but every day I change my top. At least I wear the same trousers for a few days, and obviously my underwear, I change that every day. I don't know. I'd probably prefer to be able to wash, because when you wash, when you have a shower or a bath, you do feel clean, even if you put the same clothes back on. Like, for example, I'm going to a festival next week in the Isle of Wight. I'm going to the Best Festival, and I'm not going to be able able to have a shower for like 4 days, which is going to kill me. But obviously I'll take plenty of changes of clothes. So I'd probably prefer to be able to wash rather than, because at least if you wash, at least your skin's clean and you don't smell and you get all the sweat out of your system and you wash it all off and you've got clean hair. I'd rather that than, yeah, the other way around. Because the change of clothes doesn't clean you as a person, it just changes your clothes. So I'd rather be able to wash. Number 13. Which of the 4 seasons do you most anticipate? I don't really have favourites. I'm very indecisive, so I don't really have a favourite season. I enjoy all of them. They've all got their individual beauty. You've got winter, which is, you know, really cold and frosty and beautiful, and snow. Obviously, when it snows, it's just the most stunning sight, really, ever, to wake up and everything's got a beautiful glittery blanket of white over it. It's beautiful. Spring, obviously. All the flowers and the trees are coming back to life and all of the colours come out and the birds are singing. And summer, you've got just the beautiful sun shining on everything, which makes everybody happy. And then autumn, you've got the leaves on the trees turning a lovely brown and then eventually falling off. I don't really anticipate, probably summer, I'd say. Maybe that's got something to do with the fact that my birthday is in the middle of summer, I don't know. But probably summer, because I prefer to be hot than I do cold. And you get to wear nicer clothes, you don't have to wrap up every time you go out, which is nice. Number 14. You can choose your method of dying and the place of which you will die. Where would you like to die and how? Fucking hell, sorry. That's a bit of a morbid question. You can choose your method of dying and the place in which you will die. Where would you like to die and how? Okay, how would I like to die? Quickly. I wouldn't want to prolong it long at all. How would I like to die? Whatever's quick, being shot in the head, or something like that. Probably the most humane I can think of. Where would I like to die? I don't know, I want to say somewhere beautiful, like somewhere I've never been. But then if you're going to die, you don't get to see it. I don't care where. It doesn't really make a difference to me. Anywhere. I'm going to die, so, you know, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to see it. Number 15. You can choose your last meal. What will the menu consist of? Okay. I wouldn't really have a starter. I'm not really a starter kind of girl. I'm more of a mains and a dessert girl. Probably something meat and veg, shepherd's pie. My dad used to make an awesome shepherd's pie. I wouldn't mind that. Just anything with meat and veg, I think. Probably, yeah, just simple meat and veg with gravy. Maybe a steak. Maybe, probably my dad's shepherd's pie though, because obviously since he died I haven't been able to eat it. So I'd love that again. And for pudding, anything with chocolate. I am a chocolate person. I remember me and my partner went to, I think it was for my birthday this year. Well, we've only been together about a month, so it could have been long ago, but it was for my birthday a couple of weeks ago. We went out to a new Thai Chinese restaurant in my local town, and I looked at the menu for the dessert, and I wanted a dessert. But there was no chocolate, so I didn't have anything. There was nothing with chocolate in it. Because obviously the Thai and the Chinese aren't really big on chocolate. They're more sort of fruits and fancy things. So I'd have, for dessert, anything with chocolate. Chocolate fudge cake with ice cream or something like that. And then I'd wash it all down with probably a bottle of fruit cider. I don't know which specific brand, but probably Copperberg or Jack's or Rigor de Ligue, which is a nice cider I discovered recently. Number 16. If you had to be trapped in a TV show for a month, which show would you choose? Something with David Attenborough. Some reality documentary, nature documentary. Definitely a nature documentary. Something, like I say, with David Attenborough. Anything on Eden, most likely. Or maybe QI. I really like QI. QI is one of my favourite TV shows. So either, like I say, I'm indecisive, so I'm not going to come to an ultimate decision on these. But yeah, QI or a nature documentary, that seems to be my thing. 17. List 5 people you know, then describe each of them in 5 words. Or 5 words each, or 1 word per person to make up the 5 words. Each of them in 5 words. I can't be bothered to do that, it's going to take ages. And you don't know who they are, so there's no point. I'll say my partner, because I've mentioned it before. Describe him in 5 words. I don't know. Intelligent. Interesting. Sexy, obviously. Oh no, I'm struggling. Calming. He's very calming. He's a good person to be around if you're stressed, because he's just quite really chilled out and doesn't get stressed about anything. One more word. Funny. He's very funny. He's got a wicked sense of humour. He makes me laugh all the time. So yeah, that would do. 18. You can select one person from history and ask them a question, which they must give a truthful reply. Who would you select and what question would you ask? Oh my god! I don't know. One person from history. There's so many. There's too many. I'd probably Charles Darwin. Actually, he comes into mind. Charles Darwin. I'd probably ask him, what piece of advice would he give me to give me the best start in looking for a job in some kind of nature research, because that's what I want to do in my life. So I'd probably ask him, what advice would he have for me, or how did he start out in it, or why did he start out in nature, what intrigued him to, start out being the genius that he was. 19. If you joined the circus, what act would you most like to perform? I wouldn't mind working with tigers, but I don't know if I could handle sort of the way that they treat them. Something with animals. I'm not really one for gymnastics and that kind of thing. So something probably with animals, teaching them in a very friendly, humane way. I wouldn't ever mistreat an animal in any way, shape or form. Yeah, probably that. Working with tigers or elephants or something like that. Number 20. You discover that your wonderful 1-year-old child, which I don't have, is, because of the mix-up at hospital, not yours. What? What would you want to exchange the child to correct the mistake? I have no idea. I'm not even going to attempt to answer that question, because if you think it's your child when you take it home, you're gonna love it no matter what, because you think it's yours. So that state of mind is already in your head. Would I want to exchange the child to correct the mistake? I probably would. I'd probably want my child. I'd probably, if I came home from hospital and a year later they said, oh, actually, Miss Smith, yeah, we've actually given you the wrong baby and this is your child, I probably would want my child. Because in the future, if my child was with another family and discovered that I was their mum instead of somebody else, then they'd want to know why I didn't get them back, and that would be horrible to explain, and I'd just be like, oh, because I love the other one too much. So I probably would, actually, yeah. Number 21. Would you be willing to become extremely ugly physically if it meant you would live for 1,000 years at any physical age you choose? Well, I don't consider myself extremely beautiful, so I'm not one to be vain, so I wouldn't really, I don't really care about being any level of attractiveness, really, if it meant you would live for 1,000 years. I mean, if you live to 1,000, your physical state isn't going to be good. People live to, like, when you start to get towards 70 or 80, you start becoming old. So to live to 1,000, you'd just be a pile of dust. No offence to anybody who's watching this who is actually old. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I don't know, any physical age. It'd be quite interesting to live through a long period of time, but 1,000 years, that's a long time. That is a long time to live. You'd see a hell of a lot of stuff. You'd see loads of wars. You'd probably see some kind of ice age or something. I don't know. Would I be willing to become ugly? Ugly, because that's, you're either ugly or pretty, apparently. You're just a person, you're not anybody. Anyway, would I be willing to become ugly if it meant I would live 1,000 years? So to live 1,000 years, I'd have to be really ugly. I don't know. I'll say yes, because you get to live for 1,000 years, and you're going to see a hell of a lot of interesting things. So yeah, probably. Not that I consider myself beautiful, so don't start messaging me saying, "God, you're so vain, you think you're pretty." Don't start that crap. Number 22. Would you be willing to commit perjury in court for a close friend? What if your lie would save his or her life? Would you be willing to commit perjury in court for a close friend? What if your lie would save his life? Probably, yeah. I probably would, yeah. 23. Would you be willing to eat a bowl of live crickets for £40,000? No. Like I said, I'm not very adventurous with food. So no, I wouldn't do that. Even if I got 40 grand out of it. The ordeal, the mental and physical pain of eating a live bowl of crickets would just be too much. I don't think it'd be worth 40 grand. It'd be more than that. Millions. 24. Would you be willing to give up sex for 5 years if you could have wonderfully sensual and erotic dreams whenever you wished? No. I like sex too much. No, I wouldn't. Dreams are nothing compared to reality. And the last question, number 25. Would you be willing... another sex one. Would you be willing to give up sex for a year if you knew it would give you a much deeper sense of peace than you have now? That's a good one. For a year. So just after that year, I could go crazy. Not that I would, I'm not a slag. Would you be willing to give up sex for a year if you knew it would give you a much deeper sense of peace than you have now? I would. Well, I don't know. Considering what I've been through in my life, I'm a pretty peaceful person. I've been through a lot, not trying to, get the violins out or anything, but I've been through, my dad's died and my mum's not in a good way. I don't know. Giving up sex for a year, that's still quite a long time. I don't know. No. I'm just being honest, guys. No, I probably wouldn't. So yeah, that's the end of the 25 questions. There are another set of questions, which there's a few of them are a bit funny, but I might go through them in a video. I might do that right now. But yeah, anyway, those are some questions about me, kind of for the Peaceable Man, so I hope you enjoyed it, Peaceable Man. And yeah, I'm probably going to do the next set of 25 questions, but they're slightly different. But yeah, if any of you guys want to, make this a tag and answer them about yourself, please feel free to spread the love, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I hope you enjoyed it, and peace and love to everybody. Bye bye.